Welcome to the Woke Socialist podcast. Today I need to address vehemently some of the white podcasters here on YouTube that are getting paid to do the same thing to black, red, and brown Americans that enslavers have done for years. I'm getting a little frustrated with people like Steve Schmidt and others. The Warning and some of Midas Touch predicting that Democrats are going to eviscerate the Trump administration through landslide victories of votes. This is the same rhetoric that is being used to promote the Vote Blue No Matter Who movement. I'm going to hearken back to words that came from iHip News and those two women who I really think are really great, talking about how we aren't seeing the forest for the trees and how APAC Democrats are MAGA light. Now let me get back to Steve Schmidt. He gets on YouTube every day. We're going to defeat them. This is the warning. The warning is you need to shut the fuck up. Because you don't have the support of black people in deep states that you and your candidates did not go down to. Bernie Sanders went to the Deep South. AOC went to the Deep South. Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton did not. They kept going to city after city after city that had money to give to their campaigns. So let me tell you where we're at. While white people who know nothing about black people and their needs, like Steve Schmidt, are using us and our demographic for their own personal battle against Donald Trump right now. And that's the way I see it. And you know why? Because they have never mentioned Steve Schmidt. All the people dying in the streets from the time he was born until now. And he never mentions the people that made in black science what he is doing possible. But I digress. I'll say this. Here is the thing. The thing is this. Democrats are not going to win by a landslide. Because at least the state of Maryland is staying home, planning to boycott under, remember that guy, Paul Lance, that called for a national strike? Yes, black people are striking against your white elections. Now, Latinos can go vote for Donald Trump. And black people can stay home. But with whatever the outcome is right now, it is no better than you preaching to us about what we need to do, vote blue no matter who. When was the last time a fucking Democrat did anything for a black person? Oh, a white Democrat. Remember Nancy Pelosi? When the House of Representatives and the Senate was run by Democrats under the first Donald Trump administration. But she said, and I quote, "I did not come here to impeach a president." And then, when people who corrupted this government were subpoenaed to the United States government, Nancy Pelosi gave them the option of not appearing. How does that tie into my discussion? Disco. I have a little something to tell you. There is something, a long known secret society of black and white people that have belonged to an entity called the Bohemian Club. It is now headquarters, or their little, Epstein type carnival is in San Francisco. Now, these are not white men that want to exploit 10-year-old girls. These are white men who pass legislation against gays, against LGBTQ, against trans people. And they have this sausage fest once a year in San Francisco. The layers of this onion just go way beyond what you think. You voted for this. You absolutely voted for this. Now, before I expose these individuals, or some of them, there are many more, let me tell you that as everybody lauds Nancy Pelosi, her husband is a member of this club. And her nephew actually works. His name is Lawrence Pelosi. And he is a member of the Bohemian Club. Along with Paul Pelosi. Other members, I could just go on and on. Now, this is not the Epstein files like that. But these are individuals who have been plotting to make you poor since this place was incepted. Or at least since the the Reagan administration. Lawrence Pelosi, Goldman Sachs, is on somewhere in there. The Koch brothers were members of this faction. And like I said, this corruption in the United States government, the list is an infinite layer of onions just getting peeled back. It is just people like just everybody. Everybody that you thought was your hero is pretty much on this list. These people have been plotting against wage earners in America since the Reagan administration. These people have been systematically making you homeless, lose your Medicaid, Medicare benefits, and they have disgraced and made our American military homeless, destitute, and without any funds. So when you talk about the next election and you run your videos, if you're Democrats, asking for $5 or $25 or donate to my fund, if you are a PAC member, or if you are like Nancy Pelosi, if you are Hakeem Jeffries, or anyone who has taken any money from Israel, you are a lot richer than we will ever be. And you know what you can do? You can kiss my red, white, brown, and black ass. Because you're not getting a dime for us. Maybe you should phone up Steve Schmidt, who thinks the election is won. And we're going to win by a landslide. And we're going to, just take over the Donald Trump is done and all that. If you believe that, you dumb motherfucker, you haven't learned a goddamn thing. White people need to stop predicting black people's future progress. The last thing black people are going to do right now is support another Democrat who is not like Tlaib, Omar, AOC, Garcia, Cesar, Chris Murphy, Chris Van Hollen, Bernie Sanders, or anybody like that. The next election is going to absolutely be a general strike of all things that have to do with white America as it exists. So if you are a black house Negro like Hakeem Jeffries or Cory Booker, you don't get our vote. If you are a Democrat and still taking PAC money, we have 3 states willing to stop paying taxes. And, if necessary, defend our states. You will not get our vote in 2026. Let me be clear. Per Paul Lance, which is too late to do anything because y'all didn't listen to him, the general strike, the real general strike, where we stop airport traffic, stores close, people don't go to restaurants. Restaurants are closed. Gas stations, convenience stores, schools, and the United States government on election day, we are declaring a general strike because 25% of the population still believes in Donald Trump, even though they're getting fucked over. A third of them believe that they're going to be saved by the 2026 election in November. The other third has the possibility of being dragged off to concentration camps. So we don't have the luxury to give a fuck about people like Steve Schmidt and James Carville, who sit in their white homes in their white places and talk shit about what is going to happen. What we invest in is white people like Jesse Dollemore, the woke farmer, Jolly Good Ginger, Michael Fanone, and people willing to get their ass out on the street and get the pulse of the nation. These people that I mentioned before that are doing podcasts and getting click after click after click don't have a fucking clue what's going on in the street. I do. And these people do. Organizations like Flare, Sons of Liberty, these are the organizations that are going to make a change. Not people that don't subscribe to real. This isn't news. This is life. So you can call it independent media. You can call it corporate media. But you always have one third option. It's called the truth. And very fucking few of you know what that is right now. Your education is not going to be gained by watching YouTube videos. It's going to be gained by getting your ass out on the street. Now, in memoriam, I would like to list a very few of individuals that fought and or died so that black people in Congress can follow the trail of Nancy Pelosi and suck up AIPAC money and engage in insider trading so that they can make themselves rich. But they lie to you like she did every fucking day. But the names I am going to read, these are all somebody's sons, somebody's daughters, somebody's fathers, and somebody's grandfathers. Just so we can sit here and peacefully protest and wait for the 2026 election in November. So as people of color, by the benevolence of white men, we are going to be granted some kind of relief. Are you really that fucking stupid? And I think the spirits of these individuals will tell you, yes, you are. John Lewis, Emmett Till, George Floyd, 28 Dakota Indian men at the largest public execution in American history under Abraham Lincoln, James Chaney, Fred Hampton, Harvey Milk, 250 Minnekoju Sioux at Wounded Knee, Malcolm X, John Brown, Crispus Attucks, the first American, a black American, to lose his life for the revolution that you failed to fight. James Chaney, and most of all to me, Crazy Horse. This is the Woke Socialist Podcast. Have the day you settle for.